Happy 2020 to everybody out there. It's finally the top of the year. It's the time when we start to evaluate, set goals, think about what we want to do with the year. And I thought it would be a perfect video to counter the last video and talk about the top 10 good habits every harmonica player should develop. A lot of these cross over into just any musician, really not just harmonica players, but I'm a harmonica player and I teach harmonica. So that's what you're going to get today, that angle. So let's jump right in. Number one, play often and play with other musicians. I was so fortunate when I first started. I lived with a guitarist that liked to play blues. So we sat around and played all the time. This helped me develop a musical sense that I don't think I ever would have developed that early on. And it set me on this trajectory of rapid learning because I was just playing. Everything was within context all the time, every day. So play often. If you can't play with other musicians every day, then play often. But play often with other musicians as much as you can. You know, it doesn't have to be an open mic or a jam. It can just be somebody you find on Craigslist or somebody that plays guitar that lives close enough to you that you can just get together. Number two, develop a practice routine. This does not have to be super structured. It can be loose, it can be around your schedule, and it needs to be around your schedule so that you'll be motivated to tackle that. But have some sort of routine. Have something that you do that it's like, okay, this is my time to practice. This is where I practice. This is how I practice. Find a way that's working for you and stick to it. Number three, you need an accountability partner. It doesn't have to be a harmonica teacher, instructor, coach. It can be other musicians. It can even be a forum or a Facebook group, but you've got to find people that can give you feedback. So if you've been thinking about putting a little video clip of you playing at a jam on a forum or a Facebook group for harmonica, but you haven't done it, what's holding you back? Do that. Do that. Get that feedback. Get some interaction going. You'll learn so much by doing that. And by putting yourself out there, you build confidence, because once you start to realize that people are appreciating what you do, you loosen up a little and let more out. All right. Number four, be a good listener. And I mean really in all aspects of learning and playing the harmonica. And that means when you're learning, you've got to work on active listening. You're listening to pieces of music where you're not trying to play along to it. How often do you do that? Do more of that. And while you're playing music, be able to really actively listen when you're not playing in between. And even if you're in the middle of the solo and there's a space where you're, not playing, you're listening so intently to what's going on around you that it's steering the direction of what you decide to play. So you've got to just listen. Make that a goal to be a good listener all the time. All right. Number five, record yourself as much as you can, especially these practice sessions or jams that you go to when you perform with other people. Record that. This is where you can capture things that you'll miss otherwise. You'll go back and go, wow, I didn't even know I was doing that. And sometimes it's not catching the mistakes or the problems, it's catching the good stuff. You're catching things that were working. So you need to record yourself and go back and evaluate that recording and make some notes. Speaking of notes, number six, write down your goals, evaluate them often, and modify them. It's not hard, but you've got to start by writing down on paper what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the short term, and then obviously you can look at mid and long-term goals as well. Number seven, focus more time on weaknesses. I see this all the time, people get in the habit of doing what's fun, what we're good at. That's what we slip into in our practice sessions. And unfortunately, most people spend the majority of the time working on that or doing that, and maybe a small, tiny portion working on the things they really need to work on, their weaknesses. So flip that. 75% of your time on your weaknesses would be much more helpful to you. And number eight, diversify your musical palette. I'm listening to so many different styles of music for many reasons. I love all types of music, but I'm letting that influence also come into my playing. Not just the style of music influencing me, but also instruments that I can pull from, like saxophone and guitar and keyboard ideas that I'm not hearing other harmonica players doing. So if I'm not listening to some really diverse jazz or funk or folk music and country music, I don't get those ideas just by listening to blues. So I'm a blues musician, a blues lover, a blues harmonica player, but I love all types of music and I listen to many types of music. Number 9, lead with your heart and emotions first. This is easier said than done, but most people still in the learning process get on a stage or start playing with eyes wide open and they're in thought. They're thinking their way through it. Music is an emotional experience. If you need to close your eyes and just focus on what that note is making you feel. So if you want to get better at this idea, you've got to say less. Hold a note, for example. That's a good strategy. And let that note impact you enough to where you feel something. That way your next musical decision is based off of that emotional feeling, not a thought. All right, number 10, seek inspiration. This is the last one. Seek inspiration so that you can find motivation to conquer your goals. It's a cycle that you should just continually repeat. How do I find motivation? I find it through the inspiration, through all the examples of great players out there and amazing music that's been recorded. I go into it, I find something that I'm unfamiliar with and that gets me excited, and I become motivated to create the goals around that inspiration that I found. And I think if you do all these things, these are just 10 good habits, top 10, but let's hear what else you guys have to say. What are some other good habits you've developed over the years? Throw them down in the comments section. Please follow me, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can get notified when I'm posting videos and going live. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And I promise you this, there will be plenty more content coming your way in 2020. Have a wonderful new year.